Hello and welcome to the Overlap Rugby Podcast. I suppose I should say welcome back to the Overlap Rugby Podcast. This is episode 14, and for those who have been listening thus far and watching thus far, our sincerest apologies. We kind of got a bit sidetracked with a few things in life. Our one exams with your man over there, and made a few gigs, and just our schedules did not overlap on those many occasions, and we kind of missed a few deadlines for a few pretty seminal moments in the rugby season, in the rugby calendar, which is unfortunate. But we are back, and we're going to try and make a go of doing a bit of a long one, and try and touch on a few of the things we missed, but we will only be touching on them really because stuff has moved on, and I'm garnering Lions colours because we're kind of in the swing of that. As we record this, Lions are 2-1 in their campaign thus far, and there's another game tomorrow against another more classy opposition.
Yeah, we're shooting this on Monday. You'll see this after the Highlanders match, but we're shooting this in advance of that.
Yeah. So obviously that'll be the focus later on. But the last we did was kind of previews of finals, I suppose. And what were we touching on?
We were previewing the Champions Cup finals.
Previewing the Champions
Cup. That's a while ago.
Yeah. Obviously that has happened, and Saracens remain champs. Although they couldn't manage a double either. You were predicting doubles earlier on. There were no doubles.
Yeah.
None of the doubles. But
credit to Exeter.
Credit to Exeter. Exeter played well of Europe in the
It
second half.
was really ballsy because it looked to me in that semi-final against Saracens, Premiership semi-final, that Saracens, despite being mostly outplayed by a really tenacious Exeter side, had done what they do, which is find the winning score. They found on around 70 minutes, if I recall. They found the score that put them in the lead, and Exeter, to their credit, won a penalty, banged it way deep. I think it was
Henry Slade.
A brilliant penalty into the corner, and from there they managed to execute a more try that won the game. And that's
The game being one game this year. Henry Slade, or this weekend just gone. Henry Slade, another classy touch for one of the tries. A lovely little break and then kick through. He's a very lovely player as well. He should be getting a look in soon enough in proper England setup maybe next year.
Gareth Stevenson too.
Yep. There'll be a bit more of Exeter represented, obviously, being that they are the champs.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how they go in the Champions Cup next year as well. They play with the kind of rugby that I would like to see, in that even when they lose, it's calamity of a wide ball usually from Stevenson. But no, they expand, they attack, exploit teams around the fringes, which is kind of. I think it'll sweep across Europe a bit more now. We're kind of a little bit behind trends a lot of the time in Europe, but a lot of these defensive systems that have just become synonymous with Northern Hemisphere rugby, the way around them is literally that. It's around them. It's not around the fringes that the safe thing to do is. So it's going to find a few more teams more prone to throwing the skip.
Well, look at just to kick on from that, we were both present in the end of Leinster's season, a very disappointing end to Leinster's season against a wonderful Scarlet side. They went on to do much the same to Munster the following week, and but look, that's the way it's going now. You got Clermont champs of France, Exeter champs of England, and Scarlet's champs of Pro 12, and then in the Champions Cup, Saracens, they were not a 3-point team, and they were different certainly, but they found ways to score tries, and Saracens are still a team that I really do like. But again, like scoring tries is the way to do it, and it was a taboo thing to say a few years ago. It's like the way the New Zealand play a rugby game, the way that they see rugby,
is a try, is a
score more tries than the opposition, and that was. I sort of had that awakening around the 2015 World Cup when it sort of completely failed for Ireland.
From Ireland's point of view, because we were buying into the Ireland trend going into that World Cup because it was double Six Nations champions. It was a defensively minded kind of defensively minded counter-attacking, not in the true sense of counter-attacking in the sense of kicking the ball up in the air and winning said exchanges in the air and kind of negotiating the pitch that way, navigating a very kind of chess master mindset to be looking at a rugby pitch where territory is key and little increments here and there, but not really playing pure rugby in its purest form, where it's like tag rugby in the back of the field, where it's 2-1 on the outside, where that's ultimately what you're trying to get, is navigate that space and find the right pass. Not even a good pass technically, but the right pass, which is something that's impressed me a lot with Owen Farrell this season. He's been doing that quite a lot with Saracens and with England, and now with the Lions as well.
For sure.
Picking out that exactly right pass, and it's one of the irritations I have with the likes of, I'm going to type Paddy Jackson. I don't like just randomly think, but whenever I see Paddy Jackson come into the Ireland setup, he does pretty well. He does something similar for Ulster as well, but there's just, as you're building up a move, 3 phases, 4 phases, 5 phases in, he picks one pass, he has a few options, and he picks one pass that's just wrong, and your man ends up, the big ball carrier runs into 3 people, gets driven back, and then you kind of have to start, even though it's phase, if you get the ball back, it's phase 7 or 8, but really it's phase 1 again, because you're, not only did you not get through, but you've cycled all your momentum. So it's something we're learning a bit more about in the Northern Hemisphere through the teams that we see in the Southern Hemisphere doing it, and there's some positive change now in where who the champions are, and we're going to take time to touch on, even though it happened a while ago, the French final, the top coutures, just purely because the response to that was that it was one of the best top coutures finals. The media response was like, oh, amazing final, we watched it. It was not an amazing final, it was a classic top coutures encounter where they were just bruising, smashing around the fringes, and then Toulon were at a certain point around 60 minutes into the second half. Clermont were wilting as they normally do, despite the efforts of I think Lopez had a very good game. Parra had not his best game in the number 9 jersey, and they were starting to fade, and there was a string of phases where so many Clermont, it was comical how many Clermont men ended up getting
Toulon
bumped
ball
off,
carriers were just
bouncing them like skittles.
From about their own 10-metre line, they went about 60 metres, and it was just short carries, battering them. The whole game was like a heavyweight brawl. This is why it was much beloved by Northern Hemisphere fans. It was so physical. It was sort of all-strikingly physical.
Yeah, giants running into each other. Toulon they were winning penalties off those exchanges. Clermont had the wherewithal to spoil enough to give away the penalties, but we were just looking at it going like, go to the corner. You're scattering them. You're going to score tries, but they didn't. They took their 3 free points, which is what I'm going to do. We're going to segue into this with using this game. It's my least favourite thing that my dad says, and I catch coming out of the mouths of nearly every Northern Hemisphere rugby fan, is the notion of, we've got into their territory now, we got a penalty, take the 3 free points. And it's like, they're not free. The result of you taking 3 points instead of going for the 5 or the 7 is that now you're receiving the ball and you're in your own 22 and you have to work your way out again, and you're no longer looking to score a try. It's like, it's the furthest thing from free. And it's the same with like closing out games. You see those decisions arise a lot where it's like 5 minutes left on the clock and we're 2 points up, and we get a penalty, take the full minute out of it, make sure it's 3 minutes on the clock and we're 5 points ahead. Instead of like kicking to the corner and having your confidence to hold the ball either long enough to go through many phases and burn up the 5 minutes, or score the try, which you should as a pro international team have confidence.
I think we sort of touched on the side. That particular rule you were just referencing is the Ireland-France
2007 rule, as we've cited. But
which again, like, it was the exact scenario of being 2 points up, 1 point up, and then taking the 4-point lead to mean that a kick wouldn't beat us and France going the other end and score. There's something viscerally good about the match-winning try. And to go back to that top towards final, the penalty in particular was after that long phase where they carried from their own 10-metre line all the way to the opposition try line, won a penalty, and I think the score was 16-12 to Clermont, and they took the 1 point deficit instead of going
kind of one hop into the lead.
And I think we did say at the time watching it that that's a huge mistake, and we were saying like Toulon are going to win this, they have the beatings of Clermont raced to an early lead, but they're now wilting. And then as soon as they chose not to do that, and you had Dewi Morris from Sky Sports talking about it being a prudent decision, we were saying, maybe this senselessness from Toulon will be the saving grace for Clermont, and so it proved, because they would have scored a try if they went for it then and there. In general, Northern Hemisphere rugby is tilting the right way, but the top tours probably has the longest way to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And it also feels like the furthest way down, the biggest shock, because like loads of players are attracted there by the sheer purse, the scale of the purse involved, and what you're going to get paid to play there. But I'd imagine it's an absolute shock to the system just how amazingly physical, but also shambolically disorganised a lot of their play is, particularly throughout the season. Like, a lot of it is just not quite sharp enough, and not like a lot of their moves they're running through work to a certain degree, but then as soon as they get in behind the line, they very rarely capitalise. They kind of play for penalties a bit more often, which is crazy bonkers to think when you wonder like how many World Cup medals are in the top tours at the moment. But it's just seems to be, it breeds that kind of physical style. So I can see somewhat where they came from with a classic French encounter, because it really was, in terms of how physical it was. it was very quintessentially a top couture's game. But we were just watching it thinking they were throwing it at each other really. We had classic Claremont purple patch early on, and then as soon as they had the lead in the critical game in the final, then they started falling off tackles, being not quite as physically imposing. A bit of a disconnect as well between 9 and 10 at a certain point in the second half when Toulon were in the ascendancy. That I felt Cammy was doing okay, but certain Paro was tailing off a little bit off the pace of the game. And we were just watching it, literally looking at it like this has all the hallmarks of another game that Claremont will lose. And then it turned out to be Toulon who went to lose it instead.
Yeah,
which I'm happy with. On the reflection of the season, I've not been happy with Toulon at all this season and what they've been doing. So they don't deserve to be top champions at all.
What when you talk about a good game, what a good game is, we had the same conversation around the time of the England-Wales game. I think one of the things that necessitates making a good game
is to have winning.
Yeah, is to have a team go and win it. Is to have a team find the moment that wins the game. That's not about like high scoring and free flowing rugby. One of the great games of this season that I still remember, a pivotal moment in Munster's season, was a game against Glasgow away. And I think they won like 13-9, but on 70 odd minutes it was 9-6 to Glasgow. Really tight game, really physical. But also there was good enterprising rugby from both sides and good defences shutting them down. But Munster, with a lovely little combination between Zebo and Earls and Said running a loop play, found the winning score that took them away from Glasgow with 10 minutes to go. And that was that's for me, that's a pivotal, that's necessary for something to be a really great game, is to find the winning score.
And then the difference we made in the England-Wales contest. There was a winning score, but it was kicked away aimlessly. And after both teams had been offered the chance to go for the winning score, and both of them neglected it in favour of 3 points. So there's a combination of factors that pissed us off with that game. And especially
so it's not just about being tight and physical. Really, a great game requires a team to win it, in my mind. But that's sort of a distinction we make. But in general, Northern Hemisphere rugby moving in the right direction. Huge congrats to Scarlets. They came to the RDS and really put a show on for us.
2 wins in Dublin in 2 weeks is
against Irish opposition.
Against Irish opposition is a serious feat. It is a very serious feat. And to be fair, they were the form team going in. This is what we were reflecting on. We were pretty much dissecting it in the pub in anguish, pretty much post the Leinster game, and I was certainly thinking they may had a pretty decent chance against Munster of doing the same thing, because I think Munster, we found out a little bit in the semi-final and then also in the final as well. As much as it's another thing that annoys me about Irish fans saying just our teams didn't turn up and that's why Scarlets. I mean, I've heard a few people saying that.
Leinster didn't turn up.
Leinster had a very poor performance, and that was, they did retain enough ball just to show how poor they were. They were actually retaining ball enough to just make mistakes with it. But whenever Scarlets did have the ball, they were super clinical and they found us out wide. They did the same to Munster. You have to give credit, and you have to do that thing. I think it's one good point I saw Eddie O'Sullivan making in analysis a fair few weeks ago when he was talking about harsh decisions and referee calls. And doing the exercise of just switching the jerseys. If this jersey if there was the other jersey, would you still be so outraged? And I think that was definitely true. If Leinster had put on a performance like Scarlets did against the Scarlets and won that way, they would have been fawning over and going, the
Scarlets are glorious. They actually have a really glorious back row.
That's the difference between
James Davis and
the difference with this team
Barkley.
as opposed to Scarlets teams in the past is just how ferocious they are in the pack and in the breakdown. Because there was a frailty to Scarlets. They've always had those instincts out wide, but there was definitely a beatable. You get the feeling that they would just break with physical pressure. Whereas with this back row, particularly with Barkley in the heart of it, there's an attritional side to their game which adds a lot.
One of the things that I've enjoyed about this Northern Hemisphere season as a whole, just as a sort of a wrap it up kind of thing, is that human factors have been very much diminished in domestic rugby, at least. It has been largely about rugby teams playing each other, beating each other. Scarlets beat Munster because they were a better team. There wasn't really much emotion in it. They were playing their game. They exploited Munster's defence. They exploited Munster putting flankers on the wide channel in defence. Peter Manning getting caught out a few times by pace. And no, it was all about the rugby. It was all about the nuances of the game. It was all about where the space is and how do we exploit it. And the teams that won matches won them by doing that. I suppose you could argue that the Premiership final was again, it was a bit of a stalemate, and Wasps could have and should have won it in regular time. And so that's sort of a human factor, and then Exeter found a winning penalty to take them to the win. But in general, in a lot of these matches, better rugby teams were beating. It wasn't about home advantage, it wasn't really about passion. There were a lot of just out and out rugby games with teams, stylistic matchups, teams trying to beat each other, and the better team.
That's one thing we're finding more and more. Definitely stylistic matchups is one that's playing a more prominent role these days in terms of just how different teams match up and the different focuses that they have and the different personnel that they have in certain things. Things dictate their style of play and how it works against certain teams that you wouldn't think, and it's hard to predict. It's getting more hard to predict, but then it's also, we'll learn more through this definitely when we have a group of teams that are just slightly different enough to have their own team dynamics and different ways of their team working, and just what they'll have to look out for. It'll take a few times getting a few defeats as well before they learn exactly what goes wrong, like how it looks like when they lose is as important as what it looks like when they win.
Look, just this week with the Lions, it was something that Stuart Barnes said.
To his credit, that was a good call.
During the Blues game is that the Blues might actually pose, even though the Blues are bottom of the New Zealand Conference and the Crusaders are top, the Blues are going to pose a more unique threat to the Lions because of how they score tries. They score tries off counter-attack, they score tries off chaos.
Kick return, counter, all that kind of
offloads
stuff.
And those things. But that sort of instinctual play in broken field is a threat to the Lions. A Lions side that we still haven't seen any evidence can score tries. But whereas the Crusaders attack, very structured, very much like those old Joe Schmidt Leinster teams that we used to love watching. Formulaic, but Super Rugby defences can't cope with it. And but they haven't come across.
Was designed to counter.
They haven't come across a Northern Hemisphere blitz ever in their season-long Super Rugby run through of 14 wins. They've never come across anything quite like that pressured combination of those Murray box kicks and that sheer defence.
And surely the sheer size of the players opposite them.
But a team that doesn't score off chaos and a team that scores off a formula that really, again, a lot of those drift defences that Super Rugby teams do can be broken down by that style of rugby, and they have been very good at finding those winning scores. But a Lions team really did suit a Warren Gatling team and a Andy Farrell defensive system. It really did suit them to shut that kind of attacking play down. Although from a Lions perspective, it's a good sign that they can beat a Crusaders team obviously after a rugby start. But the All Blacks are going to pose a much more unique threat, and you're just not going to shut them down. You're not going to keep them to no tries.
Yes. So this seems to be the mindset as well. It's like, the defence wins games. It still permeates a lot of Northern Hemisphere thinking.
To be fair, I think most pundits are acknowledging that the Lions team is going to need to score tries. Everyone's happy that they beat the Crusaders, but most pundits are recognising.
Look at all the teams who we can cite ourselves as well, but any team who's mounted a winning effort against this All Black side in the last 5 years has been scoring more than 3 or 4 tries in that game to do so. You can't really beat the All Blacks. We scored 5 tries to beat them. You need to be thinking in those terms. It's one of my it comes up in commentary a lot as well, where when you see, I love the New Zealand commentators, love that combo.
Just Marshall and
Grant Nisbet. They're very impartial and they just know the game, and they don't offer crazy punditry that we get over here that's all personality based and anecdote based. They actually just talk about the game as they see it, which as New Zealanders is usually on the money. But one of the terms that Grant Nisbet often does is like it'll be 3-3 or 3-0, it'll be 3-all, it'll be 6-3, and then it'll be like I was watching highlights of an Ireland versus New Zealand game, or a New Zealand versus Ireland game from February. I think it was the 3rd test that we ended up getting hammered in.
The one that was like 60-0.
Something like that.
The first test was 42-10.
Yeah, it was the first test.
This was the summer of 2012.
Yeah, it was the first test one where they raced into a lead, as the All Blacks often do against us, and then we scored a try. We were on 3 points at the time, but we rolled over for a try, and I was like, "And Ireland get themselves on the board," and it's like, "Yes, we're on the board now because we have a try." That's on the board. 3 points is not on the board. It's nothing compared to what the All Blacks are steamrolling you with. It's just a good, healthy way to be looking at it. Think in terms of scores, and think then scores meaning tries, 5 and 7 pointers. That's the way to play the game. And only accepting. It touches back on these 3 point thing, but just realizing that when you go for 3, you do sacrifice something, I suppose, and it's sacrificing momentum.
Yeah, it doesn't mean it's never a good thing.
No,
to take
exactly. Yeah, it's a good option.
There's certainly the problem I have with it is, first of all, you're right to say it's not 3 free points. It's there's a cancels out the momentum, territory, possession that you have. And very often you'll see teams like, it's amazing once you start noticing it.
Yeah.
Once you start just taking into account, they're taking the 3 here, and watch what happens over the next 5-6 minutes of the game. Very often, extremely often, they lose any momentum that they had and concede. It's amazing. It's startling once you start noticing it, how often it happens. But to touch back on sort of the Lions, I suppose we're just paying into them so far. It's been not great so far. Obviously, that's a big win against the Crusaders. But if you look at how they're going to beat, I think they will beat the Highlanders tomorrow. But how they're going to beat the All Blacks, how they're going to score tries against the All Blacks, I suppose we could start talking about that.
Yes.
There's a few ways so far that they've been impressive in. The scrum has been very good. Jack McGrath seems to have regained a bit of fire. That was very impressive against the Blues in terms of beating Charlie Faumuina up in the scrum. Faumuina has been tipped by someone to start at 3 for the All Blacks. Mm-hmm. That's a huge advantage. Ty Furlong or Kyle Sinclair, again, I think are really, really solid operators around the park in the scrum. So I think set piece, this touches back to what you do with penalties in the offence, because I think the Lions, in terms of how they're going to score tries, it's going to be mostly mauls and scrums. So you get a penalty in the opposition 22, you've really got to consider how often you're going to get the opportunities to score tries. The other thing that Ireland and a lot of teams have had a lot of purchase about against New Zealand defences, they don't tend to think on this level, is with the Conor Murray snipes.
Yeah.
Around the breakdown. It's why Billy Vunipola is such a loss, because he picks through the middle and gets his hands free, and those are the kind of runs that can really kill, they can really damage the All Blacks. And that's how, when England beat them back in 2012, there was a lot of those breaks through the middle that Tulani made, but it was really started around the fringes with Danny Kerr and him picking the line off him. And that New Zealand, the teams don't attack that way very often. They don't attack around the fringes very often, and they can be caught out by it because they're not expecting it. That's why Conor Murray's been such a thorn in the side of the All Blacks.
In every game he's played. Like pretty much, they're always wary of him. It'll be a great matchup. I think it's going to be Piranara. Who's going to play against him. That's a super matchup. In terms of styles, players, like, they're very different players, but probably 2 of the best in the world. But that's definitely one of the inroads they can make. I'm curious outside of that, though. I think what people were talking about with the Crusaders game is like, this is a formidable mixing of the Saracens Wolfpack and the Joe Schmidt kicking game that can just pressure a team into submission. But I really would caution against that. Kick return try.
Exactly.
Quick kick return tries.
Exactly, because they have players, if Damien McKenzie plays for them, which I think he should, and Ben Smith is going to be on one of those wings, Julian Sevilla or maybe Naholo on the other wing. I mean,
Naholo's in fine form. You should probably be fine.
Yeah, well, Sevilla's in fine form too, but it creates an interesting conversation about what the Lions should caution against. And even though the instinct from Northern Hemisphere teams is to do those up and unders, personally I think the kicking duties should go mostly to Farrell, even though Murray is good at it, and they should be looking for long touch finders and really attacking that All Black set piece. It's got to be about set piece, and then with ball in hand, it's got to be about around those fringes and getting the hands free. So there's going to be a lot of responsibility on the flankers to pick good lines and get their hands free around those fringes, and then move it wide with those very simple Saracen screen plays once the All Blacks are signed are subbed in.
I worry for that. That's just with the flankers we have over there. I just worry for some of the calibre of the predictability of some of the carries in terms of those building phases. I foresee real danger. And it was something that happened in the loss to the Blues. It was one of the first things that happened was CJ Stander carrying into contact and Sonny Bill ripping the ball straight out of him, and then from the turnover was ultimately when the try came from. But,
one of the things that really can catch them is just picking up. Just really quickly.
Sean O'Brien through the middle of a ruck.
Is
a decent option.
Exactly. But you see like one of those little formulaic second row takes the ball off scrum half, has a man on his head side, and then pops it to man, pops it to the playmaker. But as soon as the phase after that play, after the ball carrier receives and gets taken down, possibly by some good New Zealand defence, if the next player there, instead of hitting the ruck, picks the ball up and goes, that's the kind of thing that New Zealand aren't really coached to defend against a lot of the time. So that's one of the areas that the Lions should be trying to exploit.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm very cautious about it because it's not Mark McCall who's coaching the Lions, it's Ryan Gatland. One of the other things that I would like to see, especially when after you suck the All Blacks and you want to go wide, is 2 distributors at 10 and 12. And Gatland would certainly go up in my estimation. He tried the Sexton-Farrell combination
by necessity more than actual.
Well, he tried it against the Crusaders and complimented it in post-match.
He did, yes.
And I was thinking, okay, you're going to go up in my estimation if you take a gamble on those two playing together, because the reality is that the Ben Teo, Robbie Henshaw kind of combination is just not going to work.
Ben Teo is exactly the kind of player that New Zealand know inside out and backwards as well. A big, gruff 12 who sometimes plays 13.
Well, they know how to beat the Springboks. So if you try and do a pale impression of an old Springboks team against them,
they're gonna have all the tools to deal with it as well, and it's painfully momentum killing. That's another thing that I dislike in terms of how Northern Hemisphere teams see the phase thing, is that if a man hits two players, if a man takes the ball into contact and either gets his hands free for an offload and doesn't get the offload away, but his hands were free, or he just makes a bit of ground, they're always like, good carry. And I'm always thinking, zoom out there, was it a good carry, or was that the wrong option? Was there a try to be scored out wide and we went inside and now we're in another phase? That happens more often than is called by a lot of people watching rugby.
It's really the key player. And again, Farrell and Sexton at 10 and 12, you've really got to think maybe Farrell should be attacking at 10 at least, and maybe defending at 12. Because Sexton moving into 12 from attack. But you've got to look at the players, because Sexton's form isn't great, let's be honest.
It's not.
But you've got to be ready to players like Ben Teo is useful in some senses, and especially in the Gatland system, he likes to use those guys. But really, against New Zealand, you're going to have a few options to score tries that you're going to have to take. And you need players who have those really good
attacking instincts.
So you've got to be talking about Elliot Daly or Jonathan Joseph.
Robbie Henshaw as well, although you wouldn't see it in Irish colours, but when he plays for Leinster,
certainly that's a more defensively solid option to go for Henshaw and Farrell in the centre.
Certainly he's a fiend, and the All Blacks do know all about it. He does tackle quite ferociously and quite a lot all game long, which is something that we may have to do for extended periods as well. So there are arguments everywhere. It's always interesting, and we're getting to see more combos. It's an interesting combo actually tomorrow as well. It's Henshaw and Joseph with Bigger at 10, which is an interesting axis.
I think they're going to focus mostly about that. That's going to be a game that's going to be about the pack more than it's going to be about anything else. And I think that the pack are going to be too strong. Even though
Hurricanes have been a bit shorn.
Highlanders
even. Sorry, what was I saying? Highlanders have been a bit shorn of their.
They're missing Elliot Dixon is a huge loss, and just again, back in the day, they have had good big game clutch Highlanders. Like, they were always, when they burst onto the scene, not onto the scene so much, but they burst onto the top of the New Zealand Conference and then won the Super Rugby a few years ago. They had big game clutch, and even though none of those players, even Elliot Dixon, were in the All Black squad, they did find ways to win games, and some of that was clever Tony Brown set piece plays, which we should look out for.
Yes,
but they're not quite the same team that they were, and I think that Supawanga at 10 might just break down and wilt under the pressure of blitz defence and start kicking the ball away, and that's a problem for the Highlanders. Also, Aaron Smith is so pivotal to their attack. He's so pivotal to everything that they do, and he's missing from that team as well. So Naholo's not going to get nearly half the ball that you would get with Aaron Smith at scrum half. Those two have a really cool telepathic connection.
It's a pale imitation of what the team is truly capable of. It's unfortunate, which means it's a game for tinkering with from the Lions' perspective, and hopefully winning and hopefully scoring in. This is it. They need to emphasise how are we going to be scoring tries now, because they were happy with the defensive effort.
I would be happy. I would be happy with the set piece, with the defence. To some extent, not overly happy with the breakdown work, but happy with a lot of the systems that they're putting in place.
Indeed.
But they need to understand that they're
we're
not
in New
scoring
Zealand
tries.
now, we're not scoring tries. We need
Yeah.
to score tries. Come on now, because as much as you might be able to bully the midweek teams, the midweek versions of the Super Rugby teams, like it's a pale imitation. It's nothing like the challenges you're going to have, and you're not going to have the same
experience. They're
luxury.
going to experience it against the Chiefs and Canes as well. They're going to experience. Those sides are going to find tries against them in a way that the Crusaders couldn't. Also, that Crusaders team was a highly motivated test team that was playing them. Like, they had to win that game. They knew it. They played that match like a test match.
Yeah.
Whereas they're going to be playing the Canes and the Chiefs on
Like a
Tuesday.
warm-up match. Yeah.
So in advance of this tour, we did predict 5 tour defeats. That's
Still looking like
it looks like that. After the Blues defeat, it still looks like that's a probable solid bet.
But you have yet to make
I never made it, but
yeah.
just to talk about it from a New Zealand perspective, they have some really interesting squad selections, and the most key of which is in the centre. I just want to talk about this for a moment because Lemape and Asso are the two top Super Rugby try scorers, the two Canes centres. But I've watched them in big games. A lot of people are screaming for a Lemape, Asso combination, or at least one or two of those players to find their way onto the All Blacks team, and I would caution against it. I've got to be honest. I've been watching them in a couple of big games, including recently against the Crusaders, and they first of all, they don't link that well together. They're strong carriers. They've got really good finishing instincts, but their link play has been soft. And one of the things that the Chiefs actually managed to do, which did cause the Crusaders to wilt a bit, was they managed to really work those inside channels quite nicely. There was good link play. Cruden was quite pivotal in that, and McKenzie. But the Canes couldn't do it. They only can attack on the outside channels. They can only go wide, and Asso and Lemape can both be caught, and they can both be silenced. So again, against the Southern Kings, on an easy Saturday afternoon in the sunshine, they can score 4 tries each.
Yeah.
But I don't think that they're actually at the test match level in terms of their attacking intellect.
Yeah.
So in the centre, they've got some big calls. Sonny Bill looks like a front runner now for the 12 jersey.
Especially after that performance for the Blues.
Yeah.
So it was pretty
You're going to have to go for Barrett at 10. Barrett his
dropping.
form has dipped a little bit from the
Still
dizzying
dropping.
heights that he was on, but he's still the best player in the world probably, so he's got to be 10. And then you got to look at what works there. TJ Perinara is great for those wraparound plays for getting on the end of line breaks and scoring tries and turning line breaks into tries, which is something that New Zealand do better than anybody. That is a very necessary step forward for a lot of Northern Hemisphere teams who are starting to think on that level.
Exactly, yeah. England were showing some of that against Argentina, to be fair, and Argentina were showing it right back. That was a cracking game where they were both finishing off some of their opportunities. France and South Africa also played.
We'll
touch on that, but it just reminded me there, like South Africa have that problem of
they
creating a load of chances and bottling them towards the end.
They certainly do.
It's painful to look at, and it is.
But going forward, that 13 jersey is going to be a big call. And you need the centres to work together, you need them to have good instincts, and you need your 13, especially if your 12 is going to be Sonny Bill.
I still like the idea of Ben Smith at 13.
I was going to go there, but your 13 has to be a guy who can link up with your back 3, because if you're going to have possibly Damien McKenzie at fullback, then I think they should do it. I think even though he can make some mistakes, he's such a dynamic.
He's exactly the kind of player that can leave that Northern Hemisphere defence in tatters off a kick return or off a line break or off any kind of half chance.
Yeah,
he can ruin Jesus' shirt.
The other option is Goodhue for the Crusaders, who's been very good. And
he's been good as well.
Yeah, a lot of intellect.
I just like for multiple reasons. I trust Ben Smith with my life. He is probably my favourite player currently playing the game. He's just my favourite type of player. Great thinker on the ball, and like you said, he's wealth of experience out in the back 3 means he will have that.
As good as Goodhue has been, as good as Lemape, Asso, these are guys who have not faced test match atmosphere yet, and you're going to have a situation they haven't faced, as the Crusaders experienced this week, which is a Robbie Henshaw or somebody similar to that, whether it be Jonathan Davis or someone,
a super athlete in his prime.
Test match internationals, but they're going to be playing that inside blitz. They're going to be right in your face, and 13's job for the All Blacks is going to be to get it outside them, to get it around them, and perhaps a sure player like Ben Smith might be the best option there.
Indeed.
And then to move Damien McKenzie into fullback, and then on the wings you have a host of options. You've got
and just the sheer combination of pace, because the carrying option that Barrett is at 10 as well means that if
Mackenzie's a great first receiver as well.
Yeah, and so can Ben Smith be.
Yeah.
You know, it's such a versatile back line with that. And then you have Sonny Bill inside Ben Smith, and then a combination of Naholo or
Julian Sevilla. There are a few others.
There are other options.
Corey Jane is back playing.
Playing pretty well.
Israel Dag.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't. I'd probably be leaving Izzy out on this.
Tamani Valu from the Crusaders scored a lot of tries this year.
Scudder only made the Maoris as well.
I saw that. He's only back a couple of weeks, but certainly
he's another one who could get drafted in.
He's come back and looked pretty sharp. So
so there's so many, an embarrassment of riches with them.
Yeah, but the combinations matter.
They do.
The other thing that's interesting is the back row.
That's going to be a hotly contested one.
We've got Sam Kane, pretty much straight shootout for the 7 with Matt Todd. Todd is probably going to win. You got Jordan Taufua from the Crusaders, number 8, really solid player. John Kane was injured at the moment, but Liam Messon playing very well for the Chiefs. Artie Sevilla playing very well at 8 for the Hurricanes. You've got some big decisions to make, and it's going to matter who's going to cause the Lions the most problems. The questions you have to ask, not necessarily who's better. It's the same. It's the Crusaders Blues argument again. Who's going to really pose a threat to these teams? Do you want Artie Sadier carrying the loose, but do you want somebody who's going to do that grunt work? And that's the second row is really their secret weapon.
Yeah.
A lot of guns.
Who can start there?
Well, Brody Retallick, and then I've got Sam Whitelock or Dominic Bird.
Options. Brad Barrett or Scott
Barrett, yeah.
Well, he's playing well. I like the idea of Scott Barrett off the bench though, for some reason.
Yeah.
Maybe because he scored against us.
So who are you put in the old Retallick and Whitelock, and then leaving out Dominic Bird? You need guys who can do those.
And they have that telepathy as well, the Bird and Retallick.
Retallick and Whitelock do too, though.
Yeah, it's true. So many options for them. I'm salivating at the thought, and I'm curious to see what happens, but that is one thing that they have pioneered in the last few years, and it's only something that we're definitely on the back foot in the Northern Hemisphere is the type 5 as playmakers, and more specifically the second rows, because New Zealand was initially where that pod system of having second row carry with either a prop outside him or someone else and then the playmaker out behind. But the nuances in this season alone, even in the early season we watched, there was a game with I don't know, Retallick and Bird were just literally pulling all the strings. They were literally like the playmakers. They were just pulling off lovely soft passes, picking, as you said, the right pass. And then now they have all their type 5 players many rows down are all capable of thinking like out halves
when they
have the ball on the line.
What they need though is good service for TJ Pernara. So they need to stop that poach at source. And who's going to do the job? Who's going to do the best grunt work job of that? That's what a lot of those type 5 selections are based on. That is my top guy. Jordan Taufua, both big.
Sam Kane has a big game mindset.
Can you play Jordan Taufua and Artie Sevilla? I don't think so.
I don't think so, and I don't think there's a need for it. I think that's rash, and it's something that a Northern Hemisphere side might be prone to do without thinking about it, because they tend to emphasise big barnstorming carries rather than the detailed work in the ground, in the tight. Because especially like you said, when you have the likes of these playmakers in the second row, and even their front rows are mobile and capable of playing with the ball in their hands as well, and capable of making dynamic carries out in wide channels. You don't need to have that many specialists in the back row doing the same thing.
No.
You need is specialists as groundhogs and terriers and guys who are going to give you that platform and the service to allow for the rest of that.
And guys who are going to have the gas to do it, the fitness to do it.
To do it for 60-70 minutes.
One of the winning conditions for the Northern Hemisphere is if you get Tipperick or Woodman or Sean O'Brien or somebody like that just dominates.
Jackling steals.
That
has to happen early, and they have to keep getting penalties and territory and points off them. If they don't, and if New Zealand, God forbid, New Zealand start poaching after we go through the multi-phase way of attacking, I can see it happening already though. Just slow tempo, attritional, round the corner kind of carries. If they have two jackals on the pitch,
it can be around the corner. I think, especially because I don't think that they're just going to get. I just don't think they're going to outscore New Zealand in those wide areas. They can be certainly smashed around the corner, but what it needs is offloads and tempo. And those are two things that Billy Vunipola really does apply
to any team.
Yeah, exactly. He really would have been the Lions' secret weapon going into this tour, and the fact that he's missing is a huge blow.
It is, and my God, Toby Faletau or Moriarty.
Pale limitations.
Nowhere near. And even it was in the other England game as well. They have that big boy Hughes, who's in the same mould, but he's nowhere near the football.
Yeah.
Nowhere near
Well,
the
England
football.
experienced that in this year's Six Nations. They were missing Billy Vunipola, I think,
And they
for
were
most
far
of it.
less dominant and a bit more stop-start and a bit more laboured in how they scored. Even though they did end up winning, of course, credit where it's due. But it definitely, the tempo is something that concerns me. It's something we should be looking for. It's a talking point that doesn't quite come up. Again, we're going to draw a distinction because we do, like, I do watch Type 5 Rugby Union all this. I love watching New Zealand coverage of rugby, purely because it's not even a sport over there. It's more akin to religion.
Yes.
So they know their shit. They know what they're talking about. And then just the distinction you can draw with what we have to compare with over here, the punditry and the shambolic nonsense that comes out of some experts' mouths. But there's very little talk of tempo I find in breakdown and discussion of games up on the Northern Hemisphere. Very little emphasis placed on it, even though it's such a factor. And there's so many teams that you notice it when they get in a groove. They have a set tempo that they love playing with. And that can be different for different teams. Different teams maybe like a slightly slower, more deliberate pace. Certain teams want a helter-skelter, fast pace. But it really affects defensive systems and the alignment. And if you play with speed, obviously, it affects how quickly you can get into a line and where the layout of the defence is. And that's what gives opportunities for the footballers like Damien McKenzie or all these people out wide to notice the mismatches.
Even divorcing yourself from the broader context of the battles in the areas, the certain, matching certain areas of attack and defence between the All Blacks and the Lions. The All Blacks' secret weapon has always been their ability to score tries off counter-attack. It's been this way forever. They have that instinct. So I don't know how often we've seen a team dismantle the All Blacks and do a good job in the early exchanges and it being a really tight, good game between two really tight, good teams, and you think who's going to win it. And then the All Blacks will find the tries off the, like, you'll switch off for a moment and they'll find they'll find the try at the key moment, and then they'll find probably another, like, they'll get going to these patches of scoring tries. And actually the way Ireland beat them was banking for it, was doing the job on them, finding how to beat them, and then hammering them and keeping on hammering them and building a 20-point lead, banking for the 3 tries that are going to come back at them.
And then knowing that you have to score again. And it's only knowing by bitter experience, which is painful. It's a shame that it took us just losing it the time before we knew, no, it's not good enough, we're going to need to score again. And that's just the truth of it. And I wish we could adopt that as not just a strategy for the All Blacks, but just, why can't we win all our games that way? And we literally have the opposite problem. It's been painful to watch us play Italy or teams of that calibre for years, because we'd always win by like 33 points to 20, and you're like, we let in 2 tries at the end. Why can't we just keep, like, whenever New Zealand are playing a team they're superior to and where there are flaws in their system, they just score tries all the time.
Joe Schmidt's Ireland, that has become less true for this team. What the difference is when they're playing a Wales or Scotland level team, and you notice them take a breath when they're up on the board. You can see in the body language them taking a breath. But I mean, the Lions learned that lesson too against the Blues. They won that big scrum, do you remember? And then there was all this media about it. They won the big scrum. They told Gene Sinclair were jumping up and down and buddy copping each other, grabbing each other, delighted with themselves. And this was after about 72 minutes, and they were up on the board, and they thought they had the game won. And it just misunderstands the danger that you're up against. If it's a one-score game, you can never switch off. And as it happens, it was a Toji who shot out of the line and left the gap for Sonny Bill to come trotting through. This is a Toji who had a great game. I wouldn't start in the test match, but a life lesson for the guy: you can never switch off. You never have the game won when it's a one-score game. And that sigh of relief the team seems to take in the lead, and Ireland have certainly been guilty of this in the past. Really should be reserved for 2 or 3 score leads.
Stomped out of them. It should be at this stage, after so many defeats, stomped out of them, but it's not. It's still there. It's still prevalent. So we'll try and highlight it and try and learn from it. But I think it'll be
cultural things that you notice is and you can almost get frustrated with is the emphasis on winning games almost seems to be less. Bizarre thing to say in the Southern Hemisphere, in New Zealand, and I also notice it in Fiji and in Tonga and Samoa. Like, they're just playing rugby. They never stop playing rugby. And like, they've noticed this against Australia as well, because Fiji were delighted when they got in for a late score. They were reacting just as if they'd scored the winning try, because they do. They just want to score tries and they just want to play. But it has its advantages because it just
exercising performance as well. When you analyse something, you're not looking for the result based. You're not looking at result based criticism. You're looking on performance based criticism. And if you have a good performance, you can have confidence then that the scoreboard should reflect that. And then when it doesn't, you need to be analysing aspects of your own performance that contributed to why you lost.
In many senses, it can be the antidote to the Johnny Sexton problem of getting trapped in your own head and trapped in your own
which
mindset.
we did see happen against Scarlets.
Yeah, we've seen it happen quite a bit recently, but Sexton sort of freezing. But you notice that and a lot of Southern Hemisphere players, even when they've made mistakes and the game's drifted away from them, they'll be like, oh, they will be disappointed obviously, but then they'll be like, oh, there's some space over there.
Yeah.
Because they're still looking at the game and still thinking about the game on that level, always trying to just play rugby. So even when it's been disastrous so far,
they can
go, oh yeah, God, there's space.
Yeah.
You know, and that sort of way of thinking could definitely help some of the Lions players and some of the Leinster players.
A load of those instincts need to be instilled, and I'm curious to see what kind of combos we'll have, because there are players like Stuart Hogg who certainly epitomise that, the attacking instinct, but at the same time is frail in defence, which is something that
that's true of a lot of Southern Hemisphere players.
It is. It's true. It's that mould of fullback, and I can see in a Gatland side, it's just not what he wants. It's not what he wants there.
I suspect he won't pick Hogg
either for the tests, which is unfortunate because he's 2 years running he's player of the tournament in the Six Nations.
Yeah.
He's not going to get picked up because Warren doesn't want that. And like that's the trade-off that I don't like seeing. I want to see teams that, and this is what's hard about the jersey thing, because I remember like when I found out that the Blues had beaten the Lions, I didn't watch it live, I had to rewatch it.
I watched it live.
You watched it live. When I found out that we won, it's like I wasn't disappointed really. I'm kind of glad, because like as much as it's Ireland players are involved, and I don't want to see the Irish players getting humiliated. They're not my team truly either. They're the Lions, so I'm not really rooting at them from any kind of historical precedent. But in terms of what I like and what I love about rugby, like I'm a Leinster fan first and foremost, and we love players taking chances on the pitch. We don't particularly like them being regimented out of individual thought and individuality on the pitch. You want to see players playing heads up rugby, creating some moments on the pitch, and the only team doing it on that day was the Blues. It was not the Lions at all. It was the Blues who were playing the heads up rugby, and it's like, well, how can I root against? How can I cheer against that? Look at what they're doing. They're playing wonderful stuff, and they're beating us. Yeah. And that's like, it's hard for me. It's a little division that I'm going to have throughout this tour, because Warren Gatland epitomises everything that I dislike in many people's ethoses about rugby. Physicality.
Personally, full discussion. Like, I mean, I've seen teams play great rugby against my teams, and it still hurts.
It does.
Like when I watched Scarlets, demolish Leinster, and it hurt to watch that happen in our own stadium in a big way. And I just gotta be honest, from my own perspective, there could be anything that could be disrespectful, but I'm never going to feel that about the Lions. I won't feel it about Leinster and Ireland. I will never feel that. I have no personal identity with the Lions, so watching a Lions team lose or get beat up, it doesn't affect me in any real way. I mean, I'm watching it and I'm interested in it because it's sort of like a fan fiction, cool. From a rugby perspective, it's kind of just an interesting thing to watch happen. All these team players come together for this big
team. How will that work? What will the combos be? It was one thing. This is like the last time I've enjoyed watching the Lions play in earnest was this tour, which was 2009. But I loved little aspects of it. The Bod Roberts combo coming out of nowhere that worked. Some of Luke Fitzgerald's moments. Rob Kearney coming of age in the wake of Lee Burns' injury. There were loads of little moments in that tour, and O'Gara, Rooney, and all this. There were great talking points throughout, but they also just played really attacking, kind of like just gun on hit gunslinger kind of rugby is what I like. Things just throwing caution to the wind a lot of the time, and trying to play heads up and trying to beat them out and out at rugby. Whereas the last time, against a pathetic opposition in Australia, we still played regimented non-rugby and managed to just about, but when we did end up winning it, it was purely the fact that Corbisiero munched his man in the scrum, and that was all that happened. That was all there was to it. And now this time again, we picked the same coach who I've never liked, and his systems are always bludgeoning and slow and methodical and narrow, and tend to emphasise brawn over having individual thinkers in the individual positions on the day and on the pitch. And it's just everything I don't like about rugby, about modern rugby, about Northern Hemisphere rugby specifically, and about Warren Ball. And as much as I'd love to see some great rugby out of them, would I love the Lions to beat them, maybe get a test win? I suppose, with some good moments from Irish players.
I think it would be interesting.
I think it would be great to see them get dismantled and demolished as well, because if I see the New Zealand put a score up against them after many weeks of prep, you're going to know you're not doing something right. You're going like it's not like you're playing.
We'll see what happens. We'll see where the captain does go for the 2 distributors. Whether he does try something.
That would impress me a lot.
And we'll see if he can impress. I'm certainly keeping an open mind about it. And I'm probably going to go into those matches pretty much neutral and just interested to see what happens. Because it's a teachable moment.
Yeah, exactly. And it's rare to see New Zealand as well, the All Blacks, as up for a challenge as the Lions.
They love the challenge.
They love that. It's a big. From that
it's
sense,
a cultural thing. That's the whole point of the haka. Like in a lot of ways, they love that idea of
laying down the gauntlet.
Battle, and here we go. Let's do it.
That's what it is. That's what the game is too. I love that. Can't but love that, and you can't find any fault with it at all. No. Which is why, again, like. How am I cheering against these guys? They're everything you love about the game that I love.
Yeah.
So it's,
Exactly.
But I suppose we'll move on and leave it. We will try and touch back on the Lions post this game, pre the next game if we can at all.
Yeah.
Maybe after the weekend that we get back to it. But we'll keep abreast of all Lions.
Yeah, so it's entirely possible that the next time we talk, the Lions will have played the Highlanders and the Maoris. The Maoris, hard to even preview that game because we don't know who they're going to be. Well, I mean, I assume Nang and Scudder's going to be there. There's got to be a few interesting players. Well, Saki Naholo was playing for the Highlanders this morning, though, so that's an interesting thing that's happening.
Yes.
Because the All Blacks are playing themselves against Samoa.
They are on Friday, yeah.
On Friday.
Yeah. So that's another game that I'll have a look at for sure and see what the All Blacks are looking to do combinations-wise.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll pick the full test team. They might not.
Probably not. But it's good. It'll be good fun anyway because anytime
I
those
wonder,
kind of
is it
teams collide.
I hope it's an Apia. I hope the Samoa get a big show against the All Blacks in their capital as opposed to
it's in Eden Park. Oh. Yeah, no, it's in Eden Park because the All Blacks aren't going anywhere.
Okay.
The Lions are in town. So yeah, will we move on? Are we doing South Africa France?
I think we should touch
on it. We touched on it a bit earlier on. We watched this game, not live, but we rewatched it on the DVR the other day because we actually knew the result beforehand and knew that South Africa ended up pulling away and scoring a bunch of points. And we were thinking, was that a great South African performance, or was that a stuttering nonsense performance from both outfits? And South Africa ultimately ended up getting the upper hand while France weren't in the mood. It was definitely closer to the latter than the former.
It's kind of upsetting because I liked the selection a little bit. I liked certain aspects of the selection from
South Africa's
Casilla. Yeah.
The fact that they didn't lean quite so heavily on the Lions,
but they lean heavily enough on it. And I gotta say, Andrews Casilla did a good job from fullback.
Yankees had a good game.
He had a good game, but he's still hot and cold.
He is. He's not out it.
Well, actually, like the main issue that I have with them, and I still have with them, and I have with the Lions as well, is they're just too fucking passive in defence. It's not gonna work when the big guns come rolling.
Yeah.
And this is the thing. So I was noticing quite a bit with France on the ball, and I was saying to you, there's a place for the All Blacks to score a try. Because like my heart, I like the box. I've always kind of liked the box, and I like to see them playing well. I like to see them doing new and interesting and dynamic things. But the core of that team is in their abrasiveness. Like they have to it hurts to be tackled by them. It's pressure being involved in a tackle area around them. And the Lions at the moment are sort of more a pale imitation of a New Zealand team. They're all about this running rugby. And it's great. There's cool things going on with them, but they're not going to be
entertaining to watch.
They're not going to be as good. But they're not going to be as good as those New Zealand teams, in my opinion. And very often the Boks have added a different dynamic to world rugby, and it's painfully missing at the moment. And that really tough, suffocating atmosphere of playing a great Boks back row is missing. And while Mahaje looked good, Khaleesi looked pretty poor.
Raymond Rule.
We
were calling it the whole day. Raymond Rule, flatter to deceive.
Yeah, and Warren Whiteley didn't do from captain. He didn't do too badly, but he didn't do great. The lineout was poor. Even though Malcolm Marx was good in the loose, the lineout just didn't work at all. And just all of those things that are the core of good Boks sides are missing.
I do like the centres they went with. We were pointing that out. Serpentine.
I think they should stick with that because a couple of years ago it was under Hanika Mile. They were together for about a season. Yeah, I did think there's potential
there. Yeah, absolutely. There's as well in that mold of, like you're saying, being South African in ethos and dynamic. Those are two big burly men.
I didn't dislike what they were doing in attack that much. Although I will say that their attacking instinct is lacking. That they weren't finishing.
Yeah, they broke so often and ruined the moves. It was like in all the same ways you love watching the trailing lines of a TJ Perenara, and when the All Blacks executed well and perfectly finish off the move. there were 3 or 4 occasions where they created a line break and then the guy was unsure of himself in space. One of them was unsure of himself in space, didn't draw the man, just passed it out to a support runner, and then
the next thing that happened is Monster, who's the second rower, was another support player, and he just ran a short line, got in the lad's way, and it was really clumsy and really poor instincts in terms of how to finish a try.
Yeah, which is the same. Like, we've drawn parallels with Ireland and Springbok rugby in terms of the modern Irish game and the modern Irish team as well. It's another thing we've noticed in the green jerseys is a bit of an inability to close off those areas when you find yourself in space in the tram lines or off a kick return. Not good instincts, not executing well, not finding the try. And then it's another thing that can end up happening is you get a penalty. You end up in that multi-phase limbo where you've created the line break. It's 5 phases later. We're still on the 5 metre line. What do we kind of do? We're going to give it to our big ball carrier. Smash. We won a penalty because they spoiled it.
One of the biggest areas that I've seen just be a problem for the Lions, even though the Lions have been winning games. This is the Super Rugby Lions.
Yes.
They have been winning games in the Southern Hemisphere side. I've just noticed, like, because they're not going to play a New Zealand team all season.
Yeah.
And I just noticed, like, in defence, what you're doing is really passive and really narrow, and it's there to be exploited. And I noticed the exact same thing with the box against France, and I thought they actually did exploit it once for the Huget almost try and the Chavancy try.
Yeah,
but
Chavancy also butchered 2 or 3.
Yeah, he was very poor.
Before,
but that was a very noticeable. And there was all that space was there for a while, and we were talking about it for a while, and then they eventually did exploit it with Huget there. But the All Blacks will find those tries, and we've seen it the last couple of years. The All Blacks just won't stop against that box defence, and we saw last year the Lions managed to bully, and with good enterprising rugby they made their way to a Super Rugby final, and they made up the bulk of the box team, and that team got beat up by the All Blacks because their defensive frailties were there for everyone to see, and they just weren't going to get the same offensive purses.
They also lost to pretty much everyone that season as well. They lost to us. They lost to
but exactly. But that's the thing is then once it got to test match intensity, that physicality and that direct running didn't work as well as it did in Super Rugby. And then their defence was so frail that other teams were just finding tries against them. But the same thing looks set to happen for me again this year. Very frustrated by the lack of defence.
I'm curious to see, because it was also from France's point of view. It was obviously France, but sans their Clermont players. Are there any Toulon players in France? There are no Toulon players. France eligible, are there? Maybe 1 or 2. But certainly like they were missing Camille Lopez, and they had Plisson instead. By the end, that was a catastrophe. Who else was lacking? No
Lamorat. No Van Mahina, no Remy Lamorat, no Camille Lopez, no Morgan Parlow, I wouldn't pick him, Scott Spedding.
To be fair to both, Grumhat Machino had a very fine game, and then Serran came on and also had a very fine game.
Yeah, to be honest, I would pretty much stick with those two.
It was Plisson by the end. Plisson at the start was just about solid, and then by around 50 minutes he was making calamitous errors that were just giving the impetus all back. And also, one of the worst games I've ever seen from Brice Dulin. Brice Dulin would never played as poorly as I saw in that game. So no, there's room to improve, and also this French team with the Clermont heads inside, I think they can find tries against that passive South African line. I think this week it could happen, and I would love to see France steal a result there and make an interesting test series of it.
There's nobody in that Toulon team who would make a French team.
No,
sorry.
Sure. Well, maybe. Well, like they could make the French team. Like obviously you have your man Onu. They don't love a bit of a man Onu.
Well, they've got Bastereau, but
they do have Bastereau, but that's not the same as a man Onu at all.
Although do drop Chavancy, who is no good.
Chavancy is no good. No, but sure, you're getting Lamorat back. Fiku was playing.
Move Fiku to 13
and put Lamorat in and put Camille Lopez in, and now there's a team that can find tries against the South African team. Especially if they pick the likes of Raymond Rule had a shocking game.
He's rubbish. He's really not a test match player. No. He looked good in a weak Cheetahs team because he's the only player with a bit of dynamism in them. And against really weak defences in those South African derbies, he finds tries. Don't be fooled. He's not a test match player. He's not got those instincts in defence.
It's just as well you're playing a slightly out of form, out of the mood France, who are missing their championship caliber players from their championship caliber teams.
The Boks need to play a blitz. It needs to be an aggressive blitz. It needs to be a wide blitz because they're going to be coming up against good New Zealand teams. But they've had the most purchase.
They need to be making hits.
Yeah, they've had the most purchase demolishing teams because they're so physical and like you can see them just not using it. Like in many senses, like they're making the tackles going backwards, and then they're so strong they can pick guys up and throw them back the other way. It's like watching them defend is so weird because you're not using the muscles that you have because they're all huge.
Yeah,
and they're just not using it right. They need to be getting out of the line and being tigerish.
Occasionally,
they're strong but not abrasive.
Well. Yeah, no, Elspeth is an abrasive player, and he throws his way around.
Those guys need to be sprinting into the tackle and then sprinting into the ruck, and that's the way that you upset a TJ Perenara or Aaron Smith if you're looking forward to
finesse players is what they are, because they're perfect when they're on their form, but give them a few hits. And that was happening. Like Doolan had a few shocking moments later on after getting completely rocked in a move where he did set up the try, but he was the link man, pop the quick hands and getting smashed.
But the system that's in place for South Africa isn't a defensive system that lends itself to that kind of play.
And when you have players like Creel and Serfontaine, like you should be trusting their instincts and encouraging them to get off the line and smash people.
For sure.
And then whichever one does the smashing, the other one does the clearing out over.
Yeah, exactly.
And just work in tandem that way, and they would be a handful for anyone. Yeah. Anyone with that kind of thing. And it just, like you say, it lends into what they look at for rugby. And we made this point when we were talking about Rassie Erasmus coaching at Munster, because it's very much the same ethos that Munster have to have and have as well. That they need to be hitting folks and physically dominating teams before they win games. If they don't, they don't.
Yeah.
And so that kind of thinking is aligned much more so than with a Kiwi coach from Ulster, because it's just a completely different way of looking at it. So after we need to find themselves again. We were saying this close to the turn of the new year as well, in the wake of their season last year, and it has kind of persisted, and it was obviously we were interested in that game from that point of view, because we were highlighting it at the start of the year, going, what will this year's Springboks look like? And definitely some more cause for optimism. I think the selection policy is a bit better.
Yeah.
But the
Stormers did beat the Chiefs with a big abrasive defensive performance, and they don't seem to have learned from that. They've gone with a Lions system of defence, and this is why, like, I hope if they do it again, I hope France scores, because they need to learn, and they don't seem to be learning.
Because otherwise it'll just be another New Zealand win in the Rugby Championship effortless.
Yeah,
it'll just come to that, and they'll just end up winning.
They always end up realising this too late, because they are looking decent in Super Rugby. The Sharks, the Stormers, and certainly the Lions looking like really good sides, but they're just not appreciating what that step up is going to be in the Rugby Championship, and just not appreciating where their frailties are. And they could go through this tour against a lackluster French team and beat them twice, and then come in and do this same thing with a Lions-based style and try and take on New Zealand, and they're just going to get hockeyed. They're just going to get hockeyed like they have been the last 2 years, and rugby doesn't need that. Rugby needs this New Zealand team to be challenged with something new, and South Africa have a unique position to do that.
Yeah, they have the platform, more so than Australia ever will, because Australia play attacking, dynamic, chaotic rugby at times, and they love that attacking flair. They have some super athletes, but they're also wilting a little bit, and we were highlighting this before. I feel like there could be a power shift coming up in terms of Aussie's going to tail off. They've been tailing off.
Georgia going to beat Australia.
When are Georgia going to beat Australia? Sooner than you'd think is what I would say. Georgia scoring a solid win in Canada. 0-13, and just never in the game.
Yeah, so the thing is, like, we always do talk about attacking rugby, but diversity of styles is definitely valuable in the international sphere, and you definitely need teams to be tested with something new. And that's why Canada, who like to run and score some tries, getting nilled in their home ground by a Georgian team is a welcome development for me. Just to get everyone thinking about different things and different styles.
Exactly. Yeah, you can have some smothering styles of contests as well. So it needs to kind of mesh in at international rugby more so than it has to happen in club rugby as well. It's important for a club to have an ethos, but more than that, like international, these are your national. This is your national jersey. You need to have some pride in it, and also have a sense of what you want to be doing in it, how you want to be representing it, and what kind of game you want to play.
I've said this quite a bit since it happened, but I really did like what Italy did to England that time. But I think it was just a really cool teachable moment after a team getting hammered. The degree to which you can galvanise a group of people around an idea.
We're going to do, okay lads, we're going to do this.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like,
okay, everyone buys into it, and everyone does it, and all it can just focus the minds in a really cool and unique way. And I think the Boks need that. They need to have a style and an identity and a purpose.
It's something we loved. We were highlighting it with Saracens and now England in that they're playing classic English rugby.
Yeah.
Not all that pretty, but super functional and super fast when it's going. And it's the same with, like, obviously seeing Georgia's suffocated team is perfect because what are they famous for in rugby? A lot of scrummaging, a lot of Godza like brutes, and you can see that. And as well when you're looking at South Sea Islanders, the crazy chaotic basketball kind of style that you have out there, these giant hands that they have for looping out a target. Like, always my favourite thing when, like, you have these instincts in terms of our drills up here and how you coach, like 2-on-1s where it's like catch, fixed man, release. Whenever you're watching a Fiji or Samoa, it feels like they butcher the chance. You're going like, release it now, and he hits the contact. It's like, no, it's too late. Oh, we got him right off the way. Unreal. And it makes for some classy highlights, especially when you have like a Nakarawa type player. He had a lovely moment as well. Break through the middle and just be holding the ball up in this hand, and then it's up in the air and he's looping it around. It's crazy. Caused us I've seen him cause trouble to Leinster for Glasgow as well.
Just sort of wrap it up. I'm very much looking forward to like a big mesh of mixing with all these countries that are just right on the verge. I really want to see a lot of them. I want to see Japan, USA, Georgia, and the South Sea Island nations take that leap, and Argentina take that. Well, Argentina are already there, but take that leap forward into the top tier, and so we can have really fun. We can have fun, cool tours and fun, cool World Cups where teams are beating teams, and like I say, we want to see Georgia beat Australia, and we want to see cool things like that happen. And I think that's in rugby's future.
It is, yeah. Well, you can see like the comparisons you can draw with the roundy ball, the football, in terms of just how it's its own global economy. But then when you're looking and breaking down the tournaments, if you're a football fan, the amount of different styles of different teams teams play a million different ways, and there's always one to cancel the other out, and there is no right or wrong. Same is true of rugby, and we just don't have the same number of teams, and there's still a disparate quality. The quality is divided much more. Like still a bit. I don't know. Like based on the last World Cup, the gap is narrowing. Based on the last World Cup, the Tier 2 teams are closer to the calibre of the Tier 1 teams, and the Tier 3 teams are closer to the calibre of Tier 2 teams, and that's true right the way up. So it means that in the next World Cup, surely we're going to have a few more upsets, a few more good quality contests, a few not automatic
the draw has happened in our absence, the World Cup draw. There's one real cluster of a group. I can't remember what it is.
Wales. And
I can't remember what it is. I think Georgia might be in that as well.
Georgia, Australia are in one group, I think.
So that in my ideal mind is everyone winning different matches. All kinds of craziness going on there. I really do see the potential.
Georgia beating Australia. Yeah. It could happen. That's exactly the kind.
The kind of result that could leapfrog us into the new world of rugby.
Indeed, yeah. And I'm all for it, and I welcome it. And as well, I cannot wait for the day that the US are really confident and take it super serious.
They're starting to. I think it's the second biggest sport in Texas, rugby union, and it's getting
it's big in New Jersey as well, or something.
I think mostly it's south. Mostly it's in the south.
I'm not entirely sure on this now.
There's a California branch like that, but then it's Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, that kind of area. I think.
Yeah, but I look forward to that day because I'm curious to see what kind of team the US will be, once they're super confident.
They obviously do have the athletes.
They obviously do. They have a surplus of athletes. Sure, a lot of them are former sprinters or former, certainly your Carolyn Isles types or your. Just look forward to that day, which is not all that far away when all of these Tier 2, Tier 3, Tier 4 teams that are now they're capable of doing a number on the Springboks or the Irish when they come to town or anyone like that. Because we did watch the Ireland game at the weekend as well. Ireland scored a lot of tries and conceded a few as well, and drew up.
The 19 points conceded, like 2 of them were from intercepts, which I kind of like. It's like we weren't defensively frail. It was Carberry mistakes. I really hope that he doesn't become paralysed by that.
No.
I like that he's looking up.
Yeah, we were citing this. He was getting some criticism. He needs to be more careful, sure. But we also scored 9 tries, and the last time we had a summer tour to New Zealand, we also took our star out half of that season, our breakout star out half
to the
USA, excuse me. When we went to the USA to play them, we took, instead of our main guys, we took Madigan, who had Les Kiss in caretaker manager mode, told him, you're great and all this, but we're just telling them international rugby now needs to take it a bit more cautiously, kick the ball a bit more. and it just had a horrible stalemate of a game that we ended up winning, but it was just
by
like
2 points.
by 2 points and the clock running dead, and everyone's a bit rudderless and unsure and chaotic. This time we went out and played some rugby and scored some tries.
Keith Earl's looking good. James Ryan hasn't played for Leinster yet and playing for Ireland. I think he's pretty good. I think
he looks good.
He's a really good
much
prospect.
better than who's I've drawn blank on the name, but he captained us a few times during the season. Our academy.
Ross Maloney.
He's not. He's a better player.
I predict. I'd actually James Ryan is a welcome addition. Maybe hopefully he can take Maloney's and Scott Fardy's jersey off them.
Why do we buy Scott?
Ridiculous decision. So that's a Leinster person thing. But
yeah.
I think we can pretty much wrap it up.
How long has it been? An hour and 10 minutes. Yeah, pretty good. Pretty solid thing. We don't have anything else to touch on. I did watch you didn't watch Argentina England.
No, I didn't. I
very fine game.
A couple of times,
very
but
fine.
I didn't get a chance to see it. I will. And we will talk about that tour. I heard England won it at the death.
At the very death. And it was actually the first touch of a new cap on the wing. Brilliant play, power play, and then a step and a bit of gas and finish on the post. Like I said, someone finding the winning try. And a great game. Well done, England, I suppose. And George Ford also kicked remarkably well. Literally every kick he had was tough, and from either touchline and from very far out, and he landed pretty much all of them.
Japan also beat Romania. And we played Ireland this week, so that's going to be fun.
That's going to be interesting as well.
Another teachable moment.
They
draw Carberry?
I hope not. Jesus, I hope not.
They might. Scannell had a good little cameo at 10.
Yeah. Leave Carberry.
Fullback?
No.
You want him to be a 10? Because Sexton looks like he might be a dead store.
Exactly, and what I love about Carberry, if I can segue a little bit before we end, as a Leinster fan,
he's got a bit of that sort of hemisphere in him that he doesn't stop playing rugby.
Exactly.
It's a bit like you saw the negative aspect of it with 2 charge downs this week, 2 intercept charge downs, but he is one of those guys who's always going to be heads up. There's some space.
Yeah, indeed. And he also has all the skills. He's quite a small guy on stature, although I did bump into him in 10. He's not that small. He's bigger than I am.
Yeah.
But he's small on the pitch.
Enough.
I know, yeah. He's not that small, but the fact that he's so small means that he can kick off either foot, he can pass off either hand, he can read the game better than most. He literally has all the skills in his toolbox as best as I can see, and it's just getting that experience and judgment now because he's only 21. But I really want us to be putting faith in that kind of player and not picking a slightly more conservative option against Japan.
Scannell's good though.
Scannell is good.
I
like him at 12.
I do too.
I like him at 12 as that dynamic. I don't trust him entirely as the out-and-out decision maker for a team. I feel
it was a good crossfield kick.
It was a good crossfield kick for the try, but it certainly was. But I just had that sense. It was the same thing with Madigan when he was bursting on the scene, where it's like something about his game management makes me think he's more of a 12.
Okay.
That's we remains to be seen.
Carberry, Scannell, and Gary Ringrose could cause some damage.
That's a serious axis of evil. But we will wrap up now. And again, apologies for the hiatus, the unofficial hiatus.
Impromptu hiatus.
That's what we're
calling it.
It just literally we were victims of circumstance, and our schedules never really overlapped, and I'd be getting in the door just as you're leaving, or vice versa. So that kind of went on. But we're now into the summer. We're into the swing of things with the Lions, and we're obviously buzzing for it now.
Yeah, we'll be back next week. And,
break down either the victories or defeats.
The Lions, I suspect they will beat the Highlanders. I don't know what's going to happen against the Maoris. I suspect they'll beat them because the Maoris is a bit impromptu in itself.
Yes.
And I really think that they're going to lose 3-0 in the series, and then the other defeat is going to come from either the Chiefs or the Kings. If you had to make a guess, I would say Chiefs.
Yeah, you reckon they have that big game ethos?
I really do. I like the Chiefs on a big day. I think they really show
when the Lions are in town in their back garden.
Yeah.
They're not going to play badly, let's say.
No, I think not. Also, there's a good chance Carvalho will be in the squad from scrum half because they've just got such an abundance of options in scrum half.
So they won't be spoiled quite in the same way as...
Well, they're going to be without Cruden and Retallick and possibly Bird. Who's going to hurt Messa, Sam Kane, Damien McKenzie. James Lowe will probably still be there.
Super player.
They're going to have their centres as well. Unless they pick Leonard Brown, who we didn't speak of as a 13 for the All Blacks, another option at 13.
Where's Crotty?
Crotty's injured at the moment. He hasn't played very well for the Crusaders. I'm not sure if he's due back, but he has been playing very well with Goodhue in the centre. More of a 12 than a 13 in my opinion. And we sort of decided pretty quickly that Sonny Bill's going to be 12, but you don't know.
You don't know that. And that's as good a game as he had the other day, he can be more of a selfish player than the All Blacks need at times. And
I know, but there's so many distributors that you could actually use that direct player in there. I remember him in Nottingham in the World Cup final. It was so beautiful.
Yes, I know.
Yeah. Such a beautiful moment in time watching.
Now he was playing with Bastro outside him.
I mean, he's still playing class.
He's
got no help from nobody.
Yeah. That was another moment. Actually, it was a seminal moment later in that game where they were filtering out. It was 2 on Claremont, and Bastro got the ball, and he had 3 men inside.
Oh yeah, he just charged.
He kind of went a little bit sideways as well. He didn't straighten. He just kind of ate up all the space and got tackled, and it was like that typified everything wrong with that mould of player.
Yeah.
And enough said, really. Enough said for now.
We're going to wrap it up, folks. Yeah. Thanks. It's fun to be back.
Absolutely. And we won't be don't be a stranger, and we'll be back sooner than the last time. All right.
See you. Bye.
Bye.